Be'ezus Hashem, today's Amud is Daf Yud Gimel Amud Aleph. We'll be learning Torah Yud. The Rebbe says, Ve'ela mishpatim asher tasdim lefneim. The Rebbe says that when there are dinim on Klal Yisrael, then through rikudim v'amchas kaf, through dancing and through clapping hands, nasam takas adinim. So, interesting, what does that mean? So the Rebbe says that the first side is when a person knows that the Iker Gedula of Hashem is that also Goyim should know that Sheish Elokim in the other Sfarim, Moharan and Likutey Tfilis, he says even the Rechoikim, that even people who are far should come to know Hashem. Like we see by Isaiah that when Yisro said Ki ato yadati ki gadol Hashem, then specifically when Yisro said Ati yadati ki gadol Hashem, now I know Hashem is great, then it's Yaakov v'sal shema ilah. Now how do you accomplish that? How do you make that even the Rechoikim should know about Gedulas HaKadosh Baruch Hu? So it's through a bechina of Yaakov. Pasuk says, Beis Yaakov lechu v'nelchu b'ar Hashem. Stavka through the bechina of Yaakov that everyone could come to Ar Hashem. Because from all the others, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov was Megala, the Ar Hashem, more than all their others. Because we find Chazal say that Avram called the Makam HaMikdash, the Makam Gila Shechina, Avram called it Har. Yitzchak called it a Soda. Now, a Har, a mountain, is something which people could use, but it's not like a Soda. Soda people could connect to, could grow things in, and it's more needed for the world. And Yaakov called the Makam HaMikdash a bias. Why do you call it bias? Because bias is something which people actually live in and they have more shaykhs to. So each of them, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, they brought down Hashem into the world, and when Megal Hashem more and more in the oifen of that people could have a connection to. So the Rebbe explains that the Makam HaMikdash is in a tefillah. That when Avram Avinu brought tefillah into the world, he brought an oifen of Har. Har is something which the world can have, but Yitzchak brought the Sada, which is even more accessible to the world, and Yaakov brought the tefillah into like a house. Like a house has everything a person needs: a place to sleep, a place to eat, a place to be with your family. He applied tefillah to everything. So that's that when we say ki basi base tefillah yikari l'chol ha'amim, when tefillah is in of bias, then it's for everybody. It's for all of ha'amim. It's something that everyone could have a connection to, and everyone could have a shaykhs to. So then even a Rechoikim could understand that the godless Hashem. That's what Pasuk says. Gadol Hashem umuhulam ma'od. When is Hashem gadol umuhulal? When it's from the sitra of ma'od. Chazal say ma'od is sitra de Maisa, the place of Maves, the place of Yitzhahara. That Davka, when you're able to praise Hashem from a very far place, from a place like a house, that Hashem is accessible even in the furthest places and places which you wouldn't have think about any kedusha, and from such places, when it comes out a hakara of Hashem, that's the main place where we say that's the ikar kavod Hashem. So that's the pasuk says, Be'er Lekinu Har Kodshay, when Har Kodshay becomes Ir Lekinu, becomes a ir, becomes a city, becomes a place of houses. Now, in order to be Mala Tefillah, from Har to Sada to Bayis, so the Ir Lekinu should become Ir Lekinu, then that's done through the Tzadikei Adar. Like Chazal say that someone has a Chayla B'Teich Beisai, somebody has a sick person in his house, they should go to Chacham Yivakesh Lav Rachamim. What's Pshat? Why Dafka to go to Tzaddik? So that explains that there are Bali Gaiva that don't believe in going to Tzaddikim, and Tzaddikim should daven for them. They say that they could daven themselves. What do you need to go to Tzaddik for? So the Rebbe says they're like Avimelech. It says about Avimelech that Avi's Lashon Ratzon Kiloi Ava. Avimelech, they want to have Melucha. They feel that they have the Melucha and they have the capability. They don't need to daven. They don't need to give the tefillah to anyone else. They could just they could daven themselves, and that's what Hashem told Avimelech. Hoshev Eshes Aish Ki Navihu. that give back Hashev, give back the Eishes Ish. Eishes is Rosh Tevis Al Shin Sof Hashem Safasai Tivtach in Tefillah. Give back the Tefillah to the Ish, to Avram Avinu. Ki Navihu, Navi is in Tefillah because of Barnif Sefasayim that Shagur Tefillah Befiv. That Hashem's nana from his tefillah, and Hashev, give it back, is of Har Soda Bayis. Hashev is Hey, Shin, Beis, Har Soda Bayis. That when you give a tefillah to a Navi, to Tzaddik, that he should daven for us, then you're Mala tefillah to Har Soda Bayis, which we're going to see towards the end of how that works. Now, these Bali Gaiva that feel that they don't need to go to Tzaddik, they could just daven themselves. They're ma'akiv kaviyachol. They're ma'akiv the taivasa shel Hashem. Hashem is nana from the tefillah of tzaddikim. So now, what's the mistake? Why do these people think that they don't need to bring their tefillah to tzaddik? So Rebbe says these people were very misyagei in avodas Hashem, especially in tanisim and sigufim and all types of things that they feel that they worked themselves and they broke their taivas. Now, the Rebbe says if these people would make a cheshbon nefesh, they would see that after all the Tanesim, all Sigufim, and all their Haravani, and all the Tirchas, they weren't Matzliach to purify themselves from their Taivas. And it's like their body is like a sack that's still full of holes. That if they look at their sack, they would look at their body, they would see that their body is still full of Taivas. And that's what Pasuk says by the Shvatim, when the Shiftei Ka came away from Yosef at Tzaddik, it says Vayihim Berikim Sakim, and they were emptying out their sacks. V'nei ish tzror kasper b'sakai, and they found the money back in their sacks. So the Rebbe says Vayihim, that what does it mean? When they after they emptied out their sacks, they tried emptying out their bodies from all the taivas and all those midas, and they saw that ish tzror kasper b'sakai, everyone's money bundle was still in the sack. That tzror kesef, that tzror also lashon of being connected, that their taivas, their kesufim were still connected to their sack. V'yiro came of aviyim, and not just the taivas that they brought themselves, the taivas which they were born with, that they were garshin from their father, and when they came back to Yaakov Avinu, so Yaakov told them, "Oisi shikaltem, look what you did to me. You made me a av shakul. You made me a shakul means to lose out, like a father who lost a child. That Yosef enenu, he doesn't have Yosef anymore. What does Yosef mean? Yosef, the Yaakov Avinu, Yaakov is a seichel, like we learned. Yaakveni is a pamayim. That Yaakveni is vachakmani. So he says, "Oisi shikaltem," that you took away the seichel. Like the seichel, a person is misgo with gaiva loses the seichel. He says, "Yosef enenu," you don't even have the bechina of Yosef. You don't have the bechina of being misgaber and yitavis, the inyan of Yosef. And you have no any of Shimon enenu. Shimon is any of Snua Noichi, that somebody who is Yer Shemayim, then Devar Vishmayim is able to mechiach other people, but he's also Sanui, because if you find a Talmid Chacham that's loved, it's usually because he wasn't mechiach karoi, because a mechiach karoi is Sanui. So he's saying that you don't have the mid of Yosef, you don't have the in Shimon, Oishi Shikaltem, V'alai Kolana, it's a Kolana. And everything falls back on the seichel, that you lost out on the seichel because of the gaiva. In other words, their mistake is that we started out saying that the ikar kavod Hashem is from the rechaikim, and the more a person understands his rachak, doesn't mean dafka that a person is rachak, but the more I look at my avodas Hashem as I'm a rachak who's being miskarev, I'm so far away, I'm a bechiz akum. I'm a person who's living in a house, and in there I say, in my house, in my gashmias, and in my place where I feel rochoik, in a place where I feel, and I say afal pichen, I'm miskarev to Hashem. That's the ikar kavod Hashem. And these Bali Gaiva, they say, no, what are you talking about? The ikar is when you haravanya, nigi, and your person breaks all his taivas and breaks all his midas rights, and that's where. So and that's where Kavod Hashem is. And the Rebbe is saying, no, they're Bali Gaiva. They think they could daven because they think that they're holding their Bali Madregas. But if they would make a Cheshbon Nefesh, you would see that they're not such Bali Madregas like they think they are. They have much more to go. And Faket, the reason why we go to Tzaddik is because the Tzaddik is Mavatal Ar Gaiva. It's the reason why we go to the Tzaddik to daven and bring our tefillas to the Tzaddik, because the Tzaddik shows us that the Iker is not the Gaiva. The Iker isn't that En Chanami we have to work in Avodas Hashem, but the whole approach of Avodas Hashem isn't that I'm going to prove it, I'm going to fight, I'm going to empty out my sack, I'm going to fight everything head on. It's coming from a place of I'm far away, and even though I'm far away, I could still come close. Even though I'm in a bias, even though I'm in Megushim and everything in my house, and everything that's going on in my life, and even though I feel rochik, I feel like a guy, but afal picha, and every little bit I do is a little bit coming close, a little bit coming close. And even if a person does a lot, but each little bit he does is all in that attitude that if someone rochik is coming close. So the only eitz the vatal gaiva, which is avodah zarah, the Rebbe says, why? Because Tayvas Hashem Kol Gavad Lev is through being curved to tzaddikim. How is that? Because it says that through Trua, it says in Zayah through Trua, which is a ruach. Trua is the shayf we blow with the wind. Then that's how you get rid of the elacher. That's how you get rid of the avodah zarah. And the tzaddik that's the ruach, ish asher ruach boy. Through the ish asher ruach boy, when we get the ruach, which is this ruach that we're talking about in this Torah, this ruach of which ruach in this way means the spirit, the approach. The whole ruach of Avodas Hashem is a ruach of not gaiva, not a ruach of look how much I accomplished and look how much I'm ready to daven. Of a ruach like look how far away I am, and afal pichin Hashem is being makar of me. So through that you're machnia the ruach gaiva, and you make from el acher alef ches reish to the difference between a reish and a daled is the little kutza of the daled, the little space, the end of the daled, the end of the reish makes it into a daled. That kutz is daled. It says in Zohar that's the tzaddik. It says the daled ruchais we spoke about in Torah Ches. Shemina aber ruchais, me aber ruchais by ruach. And through the trua, the Torah b'shir barzel, that is how we break the gaiva. Mitzvah Shem we mamshech tomorrow with Torah Yud.